The morning mist clung to the valley floor like a shroud, masking the movement of shadows that had been waiting in silence for over 4 hours. At 05:47 hours, thermal signatures began to bloom across Ukrainian reconnaissance screens, painting a picture that would rewrite the rules of modern armored warfare. 43 Russian T-80 BVM main battle tanks, supported by 18 BTR-82A infantry fighting vehicles, and a full complement of logistics trucks, rolled into what they believed was secure territory. They were wrong. The convoy stretched nearly 2 kilometers along Highway M23, its diesel engines rumbling with the confidence of a force that had never faced true opposition in this sector. Inside the lead command vehicle, Colonel Dmitry Volkov studied his tactical display with satisfaction. His unit had crossed 3 defensive lines without encountering meaningful resistance. The Ukrainian forces, he believed, had retreated deeper into the western territories. Standard doctrine suggested clear roads ahead and an uncontested advance to their objective. Within hours, his armored spearhead would control the vital crossroads that could split the Ukrainian defensive network in half. But confidence, like morning mist, can obscure the most dangerous truths. Hidden beneath layers of camouflage netting and electronic countermeasures, Ukrainian forces had been tracking this convoy for 18 hours. Not with satellites or drones flying overhead, but through a network of passive sensors embedded along the route weeks earlier. Each vehicle's heat signature, each radio transmission, each pattern of movement had been cataloged and analyzed. The defenders knew the convoy's composition better than its own commanders. They knew its destination, its timing, and most critically, they knew exactly where it would be most vulnerable. The ambush site had been chosen with surgical precision. A natural choke point where the highway narrowed between 2 steep embankments, forcing the convoy into a single-file formation. Dense woodland provided concealment for anti-tank teams positioned at multiple elevation levels. Underground fiber optic cables connected each firing position to a central command node, ensuring coordinated strikes that would leave no escape routes. Every angle of approach had been calculated, every potential reaction anticipated. At 05:52 hours, the first T-80 entered the kill zone. Its commander, Lieutenant Pavel Komarov, noticed nothing unusual. The morning was quiet, almost peaceful. Birds called from the tree line, and the autumn air carried the scent of dying leaves. His thermal imaging showed normal background heat patterns. No movement, no threats, no reason for concern. Behind him, 42 more armored vehicles followed in disciplined formation, their crews relaxed and confident. They had no way of knowing that beneath their tracks, pressure sensors were recording the exact weight and spacing of each vehicle, or that acoustic sensors were measuring engine signatures to identify specific tank types and their probable ammunition loads. The Ukrainian defenders weren't just waiting for the convoy to arrive. They were learning everything about it in real time, building a tactical picture that would guide their strike with devastating precision. The attack began not with explosions, but with silence. At exactly 0554 hours, a coordinated electronic warfare pulse disabled the convoy's primary communication network. Radio chatter died instantly, replaced by static and confusion. GPS signals vanished, leaving navigation systems blind. The sophisticated digital backbone that connected the armored formation simply ceased to function. In less than 3 seconds, a modern mechanized force had been reduced to individual vehicles operating in isolation. But the electronic attack was merely the opening move. As radio operators frantically attempted to restore communications, thermal blooms erupted from concealed positions along both sides of the highway. Not missiles or artillery rounds, but something far more precise and terrifying. Ukrainian anti-tank teams had waited until the convoy was perfectly positioned before revealing themselves. Each team carried weapons specifically chosen for their targets: Javelin missiles for the main battle tanks, NLAW systems for the infantry fighting vehicles, smaller, more agile munitions for the support trucks. The first javelin struck the lead tank at 05:55 hours and 14 seconds. Its tandem warhead punched through reactive armor like tissue paper, igniting ammunition stores and turning 62 tons of steel into a blazing monument to tactical miscalculation. The explosion sent a pressure wave rippling through the morning air, shattering windows in abandoned buildings 2 kilometers away. But there was no time for the crew to react, no opportunity to return fire. By the time the flash faded, 3 more tanks were already burning. The convoy's formation, so perfect for highway movement, became a death trap in the ambush zone. Vehicles bunched together, unable to maneuver around the burning wrecks blocking their path. Escape routes to either side were blocked by steep embankments and dense undergrowth. Forward movement was impossible. Retreat would require backing down a narrow highway under direct fire. The tactical situation had shifted from advance to survival in less than 60 seconds. Tank commanders attempted to establish defensive positions, training their main guns toward the tree line where muzzle flashes had revealed enemy positions. But the Ukrainian teams had anticipated this response. Each firing position was designed for single-use engagement, with predetermined withdrawal routes leading to secondary positions already prepared and camouflaged. By the time Russian gunners acquired targets, their attackers had vanished into terrain that had been mapped and rehearsed for weeks. The second wave of strikes came from unexpected angles. Ukrainian forces had positioned additional teams in elevated positions overlooking the highway, creating a 3-dimensional kill zone that no amount of armor could defend against. Anti-tank missiles streaked down from hillside positions, striking vehicle roofs where armor was thinnest. The attack pattern wasn't random or opportunistic. It was choreographed, with each strike timed to maximize psychological impact and tactical disruption. Within 7 minutes of the first shot, the convoy had lost 18 vehicles and was effectively combat ineffective. But the ambush was far from over. The Ukrainian forces had planned not just to destroy the armored formation, but to capture its intelligence value intact. Specialized teams moved forward under covering fire, targeting communication vehicles and command posts, with precision munitions designed to disable rather than destroy. Electronic warfare specialists jammed remaining radio frequencies while signal intelligence teams intercepted desperate calls for reinforcement. The morning mist was beginning to lift, revealing the scope of devastation spread across 2 kilometers of highway. Burning vehicles created pillars of black smoke that rose into the autumn sky like funeral pyres. But for the Ukrainian defenders, this was not an ending. It was a beginning. Ending. It was a beginning. The tactical intelligence gathered from this engagement would reshape Ukrainian defensive doctrine across the entire front line. Inside the command bunker overlooking the ambush site, operations officers worked with methodical precision, cataloging every piece of equipment captured, every communication intercepted, every tactical pattern observed. The convoy hadn't just been destroyed. It had been dissected, studied, and turned into raw intelligence that would inform future operations. Among the captured materials were classified tactical manuals detailing Russian armor deployment strategies, encrypted communication devices still warm with recent transmissions, and most critically, a complete operational plan outlining the next phase of the offensive. The document, found in the command vehicle that had been carefully disabled rather than destroyed, revealed a coordinated push involving 3 additional armored formations converging on strategic objectives across a 100-kilometer front. But the intelligence windfall extended beyond paper and electronics. Prisoner interrogations conducted in the hours following the ambush revealed something far more valuable than tactical plans. The psychological impact of the engagement had shattered the confidence that had driven Russian advances for weeks. Captured tank commanders spoke not of equipment failures or tactical mistakes, but of an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move, to know their positions before they reached them, to strike with a precision that felt almost supernatural. This psychological dimension would prove more valuable than any destroyed tank or captured document. Within hours of the ambush, radio intercepts revealed a cascade of doubt rippling through Russian command networks. Units that had previously advanced with aggressive confidence now requested additional reconnaissance, demanded air support for routine movements, and questioned the reliability of their own intelligence reports. The fear of another dawn ambush began to slow the entire offensive tempo. The Ukrainian forces understood that momentum in modern warfare flows not just from tactical victories, but from the perception of tactical superiority. The ambush had been designed not merely to destroy one convoy, but to demonstrate a capability that would influence enemy decision-making across the broader theater. Every future Russian movement would now carry the weight of uncertainty. Every advance tempered by the knowledge that Ukrainian forces possessed both the patience and precision to strike at the moment of maximum vulnerability. As recovery teams worked to clear the highway of destroyed vehicles, signals intelligence units intercepted frantic communications from Russian headquarters demanding explanations for the disaster. The conversations revealed a command structure struggling to comprehend how a routine advance had transformed into a tactical catastrophe. Multiple theories circulated through the communication networks. Some commanders blamed inadequate reconnaissance. Others suspected electronic warfare capabilities beyond previous assessments. A few even suggested the possibility of betrayal from within their own ranks. None of the explanations captured the true scope of what had occurred. The ambush represented a fundamental shift in the nature of defensive warfare, where patience and preparation could multiply the effectiveness of limited resources exponentially. The Ukrainian defenders had demonstrated that modern technology, when combined with detailed terrain knowledge and meticulous planning, could level the playing field between numerically superior forces and smaller, more adaptable units. The aftermath revealed another dimension of the engagement that would influence future operations. Civilian witnesses from nearby villages, previously skeptical of Ukrainian defensive capabilities, had observed the efficiency and precision of the ambush. Word spread through local networks that Russian armor could be stopped, that advances were not inevitable, that resistance was not futile. This shift in civilian perception would prove crucial in maintaining popular support and encouraging continued cooperation with defensive operations. International observers analyzing the engagement through satellite imagery and communication intercepts began to recognize patterns that suggested a broader tactical evolution. The ambush techniques demonstrated at Highway M23 were being replicated across multiple sectors, indicating not an isolated success, but a systematic approach to asymmetric warfare. Military analysts in allied nations took careful note of the methods employed, recognizing applications that could influence their own defensive doctrines. The strategic implications extended far beyond the immediate tactical victory. The successful ambush forced Russian command to recalculate their assessment of Ukrainian capabilities and defensive potential. Planned operations that had assumed rapid advances through lightly defended territory now required additional resources, extended timelines, and more complex logistical support. The psychological impact of uncertainty began to compound operational challenges that were already straining Russian military resources. But perhaps the most significant outcome was the demonstration that modern warfare had evolved beyond traditional concepts of force concentration and overwhelming firepower. The Ukrainian defenders had proven that intelligence, preparation, and precise timing could achieve strategic objectives that previously required massive numerical advantages. This lesson would resonate through military academies and strategic planning centers worldwide, influencing how nations approached both offensive and defensive operations in an era of rapid technological change. The dawn ambush at Highway M23 would be studied, analyzed, and replicated. But its immediate impact was measured not in textbooks or theoretical discussions, but in the hesitation that now marked every Russian advance, the caution that slowed their operational tempo, and the growing recognition that the tactical initiative had shifted in ways that no amount of armor could simply overwhelm. By 0630 hours, the highway had fallen silent except for the crackle of burning fuel and the distant sound of Ukrainian forces withdrawing to predetermined positions. What began as a confident advance had become a monument to the power of preparation over presumption. 43 tanks reduced to scrap metal, a convoy erased not by superior numbers, but by superior thinking. In modern warfare, the greatest weapon isn't always the loudest one. Sometimes it's the patience to wait, the wisdom to prepare, and the precision to strike when your enemy believes they're safest. Victory belongs to those who understand that every road can become a trap.